The incident only served to affirm the Iranian people's opinion that the US was not sincere in its dealings with Iran. The US then cemented the people's resolve to resist by imposing economic sanctions on the Iranian nation. Some describe these sanctions as a blessing in disguise.
Economically, it was a hard time for us because we have lost money and assets and so many things. But they thought that the sanction will bring us to knee, and we will bow down for that. And what happened really is that encouraged the people in Iran to work harder and harder, and so it did not really damage us economically, but even that encouraged the people and young people to work harder and harder. And we saw what happened in science and in technology in Iran, and even in army and military forces. And right now, one of economically and scientifically, we are one of the powers in the Middle East region.
Iran's resistance continued, as did foreign pressure. Only a year after the embassy takeover, the Iran-Iraq war began, with the US throwing its support behind Baghdad. Washington supplied Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein with helicopters and satellite intelligence used in selecting bomb targets.
The other thing is that was very damaging actually for our country and for the Middle East countries, was that the United States really encouraged Saddam Hussein to attack to Iran. That was one of the outcome of this thing. So he encouraged, the United States really encouraged Saddam Hussein. In fact, I would say he fooled Saddam Hussein and told them that we will support you, and said that Saddam Hussein came to the idea that he could take over the country less than 1 week or 1 month.
Emboldened by US support, Saddam expected to win the war in a matter of weeks or months at the most. What he didn't expect was to be confronted with such a powerful resistance mustered by the people of a newly born revolution. Iraq's war on Iran lasted 8 years, with the people of Iran winning the fight for their republic's survival. But the war put a tremendous burden on the Iranian economy and prevented the newly formed establishment from focusing on the country's development. When USS Vincent shot down Iran Air Passenger Flight 655 in the Persian Gulf, the rift between Iran and the US was deepened.
When the US Navy shot down a passenger plane that are 200 innocent men, women and children are boarded, and the President of the United States, again, instead of apologizing, give medallion to this person who has done this. What can we do? What can we expect?
Through the years, Washington has set aside various budgets for its campaign against the Islamic Republic of Iran. In November 2009, the US allocated $55 million to its soft war against Iran, funding television stations working against the Iranian government. Since the presidential elections in June, these networks have capitalized on anti-government sentiment. The 4th of November also saw groups gather in central Tehran, staging counter-rallies questioning the election results. They shouted anti-government slogans and were later dispersed.
Obviously, there have been all kind of monies during the past 30 years that United States have been somewhat foolishly involved in spending for various goals and strategies in Iran. Sometimes United States has wasted money against in pursuing overthrow of the Islamic regime, which is totally stupid and nonsense. At other time, United States have been spending money for improving human rights in Iran. At other times, United States have been spending money to help breaking up censorship, etc., etc.
These are the things that we cannot stand. You cannot understand where it stands. There is no question that it is a confrontation between us and them on these big issues that are existed now.
The US also supports groups working to topple the Iranian establishment and destabilize the country. The Jundullah terrorist group is based in Pakistan. Former Jundullah leaders say the Bush administration fully supported the group's terrorist activities in Iran.
تأکید میکرد برای این مسئله که آقا مثلا ما سلام نمیخوایم، پولم نمیخوایم، اونا میگفت هرچی ما میخوایم میدیم به شما، ولی ما نمیخوایم. در اولین رسم میگفت شما حکومت پاکستان ها بالفعل سفارش بکنید که ما را نمیخوام ما را جا بده، نمیخوام ما را بلا چیز، ما را با ما کاری داشته نباشه. کسی دستگیر شد، نهایتش یا گرفته شد، برای اون آزاد اون کاری داشته نباشه.
Iran believes its unacknowledged efforts to fight international terror and help create stability in its neighboring countries, Iraq and Afghanistan, proves that the US is not looking for the re-establishment of ties with Iran.
Anywhere we could help, we did help. Anywhere that we could see the cooperation with them is constructive, like Iraq, we helped. In Afghanistan, we tried to help. But our big question, for example, in Middle East, they support Israel up to end, and we cannot cooperate with this. We cannot justify the killing of innocent people. We cannot justify the even recent reports from the Goldstone. It shows that the America is supporting criminals, war criminals.
So why is the US so opposed to an Islamic Republic in Iran chosen by its people?
They have failed to realize that basically that the Shah is no longer there, that there is a revolution, and for better or for worse, Iranian 30 years ago made the revolution, and they got rid of Shah, and they voted for an Islamic Republic. Somehow this hasn't gone down very well with many U.S. leaders. Now, I'm not trying to say that everything is rosy, everything is beautiful in Iran. Obviously, we have lots of problems, but that aside, I think the U.S. leaders they have failed to grasp the reality of what has been happening in Iran during the past 30 years.
Since the revolution, every US president that has come into office has pursued an anti-Iran stance, until Barack Obama entered the White House and adopted a softer tone toward Iran. The question is, where will this lead?
I don't see any good cooperation for the near future, because still we have not seen any changes in the United States attitude toward Iran.
America doesn't want an equal relation. They want to be a big boy, big brother, and this is impossible. With Iran, it is impossible.
But some believe there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Who knows? Maybe Ahmadinejad might prove to be able to make the miracle and to prevent the rift between Tehran and Washington to go further than it has been during the past 30 years. Now, if Ahmadinejad cannot make it, I really don't think anyone else can make it in Iran.
Obama has been in office for nearly a year, dragging his promise of change into Iran-US relations. It remains to be seen just how determined the US is to regain the trust of the Iranian nation.